Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Zeri supplementary guide. Now, I still think the best build for Zeri is probably going to be this crit build for Zeri. However, I do think that the Triforce build on Zeri still has its place and is still pretty good. Of course, we did have a time where we went like Mana Immune Triforce on Zeri as kind of like her default build. I also went over like a hybrid one that involves going Mana Immune Triforce into AP. But this one is sort of just the classic Triforce into full AD slash crit kind of build. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So first up, obviously you're going to start off with your Gluttonous Greaves. Of course, it's going to give you the AD as well as the Omnivamp, and then you're going to jump straight into Triforce. Now, of course, Triforce is a very strong item on Zeri, and the price got reduced by like 200 like a number of patches ago, which made a lot of ADCs build Triforce champions like Draven, Zeri, Vayne, and yeah, you know, things like that. So Triforce of course gives you max health, makes you a little bit tankier, a little bit of AD, attack speed, as well as giving you a lot of ability haste. But of course the beautiful part here is not just the movement speed, which Zeri loves, but also the Spellblade passive. Now with Zeri, in Wild Rift, you can spam your Q roughly every 2 seconds, which means that every 2 seconds, you can actually proc your Spellblade on Zeri, which is a lot. So it's basically almost like Ezreal, where you can spam your Q and proc your Spellblade, and this is, of course, going to make it such that your damage output is a lot higher with the Triforce. And of course, then you're gonna go into Runaan's Hurricane next. So Runaan's Hurricane, of course, does give you the attack speed, but it mainly gives you the Wind's Fury passive, which number 1 allows you to proc on hit effects, which is gonna proc your Spellblade. But number 2, Zeri does suffer from the issue where you are gonna be able to only attack the front target. So having Runaan's Hurricane allows you to attack not just the front target, but also 2 other targets, whether they're behind or beside. You can attack, you know, 3 targets at one go, which is a really big thing for Zeri, because one of her weaknesses is that she can get, you know, body blocked. And then of course we're going to go into Bloodthirster, which is going to give you the physical vamp, as well as a lot of, you know, AD and bonus stats when you're high on health. Now at this point, most of the time the enemy team has gone pretty tanky, so generally this is where you want to build your Mold Reminder for the Armor Pen as well as the Grievous Wounds. And then you're going to top it off with an IE, of course, for the increased crit damage as well as more AD. Now you can build IE before Mold Reminder if the enemy team is not very tanky, but in most matches this will not really be the case. And you can also of course swap out your IE for a defensive option, for example your GA, or you know, things like that, your Maw if you need it. And for the runes, you want to go for Conquer. Now you already got a lot of attack speed from your Triforce and your Hurricane, and Conquer is just a better rune on Zeri in general. You get a lot of AD and Omnivamp from the rune. Brutal, of course, because you're an ADC that auto attacks a lot. You have your Giant Slayer, which is of course the rune that does the most damage in the slot. And you of course also have your Legend Alacrity for even more attack speed. And you have your Bone Plating for the anti-burst, as well as the blocking combo damage in the later stages of the game. And also in laning phase, really strong rune. So for the spells, you want to go for Flash, and I go for Ghost like pretty much all the time, because Zeri, Exhaust does help a lot, of course, into certain matchups. But in general, I think Ghost is really good on Zeri, because you get you know, bonus movement speed on top of your ult movement speed to basically just cut around fights and, you know, weave in and out and DPS whenever, you know, you're able to, and you know, it just pretty much works out very well. So with all that said, let's jump straight into talking about the gameplay. Alright, so now we're hopping into the gameplay. Of course, as mentioned, we're going to be going for like the Triforce Runaan's into crit build, which is, I think, a pretty solid build. Now, the main reason why I don't really think it's the main build is simply because I feel like the main build, like the crit build, is really strong. But I could be mistaken. This could be a better build than the crit build, but I think like going for Shield Bow into like your normal crit build is probably better than Triforce. Although now, honestly, the price difference between Triforce and like Shield Bow is really not that much anymore. So I could be wrong. But yeah, this build is certainly very strong. As you know, I play more and more of Zeri. Maybe I'll kind of form a stronger opinion on which build I prefer. But for now, I'm gonna say that I prefer the crit build a little bit more. But honestly, with this build, you're you know, one of the big benefits is you're a lot more tankier, because you know that extra like 250 max health might not seem like a lot, but to an ADC who has like so little health, that's actually quite a lot. So yeah. So the thing about Zeri and Wild Rift that's very different from PC is that you can actually play relatively aggressively in the earlier stages of the game, because your Q is such a strong harass tool that you can just step up and Q people and you're gonna take a lot of damage. It's like a lot like how Ezreal can spam his Q in lane, but with Zeri, it's like a lot easier to hit because it's not like a skill shot, but it's sort of like an area instead. Speaking of hit, the bubble hits onto Karma, and Karma takes a huge chunk, nearly actually dies from it. And here, enemy Ashe is full committing onto going for the Nami. I actually flashed to try to finish the kill on Ashe so that she doesn't kill Nami, but turns out that Nami actually got it covered, so I kind of wasted my flash there, but I still wouldn't say it's a mistake because I had to commit my flash to kind of ensure that my support didn't die. And although I wasn't needed, that was still, I think, objectively the correct move, unless I knew for a fact that Nami could kill Ashe on her own. So anyways, Karma obviously has back because she's like, at 1 HP. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shove in the wave, ensure that, we are in a good spot to back. Here Karma gets the empowered root onto us because we couldn't break the chain between the two of us. But we do get the wave in, and we are going to be able to reset and, start getting items. So of course we complete our Gluttonous Greaves, our first item power spike on, majority of ADCs. And with that, we're gonna have quite a big advantage in lane versus like Ashe, who just has a long sword and a glove, which is not too much value. Here Karma comes over to break the plant, which is a little bit annoying, but she does take a little bit of poke for it. Returns a little bit of poke, but we do have the fruit that's now just lying on the floor to kind of top us back up. So wave is kind of beneficial towards us. It's kind of stuck outside our tower, so we're trying to kind of keep it there if we can, but Ashe is kind of hard shoving, so not really possible. Instead, we're trying to punish them by getting some poke down as they are trying to shove the wave in. We're also almost level 5, and of course we do hit level 5, and we should be hitting level 5 before them because Ashe died and Karma was not in XP range for a little bit. So you can see that Ashe is only halfway to level 5, so we do have a brief window where we can possibly abuse our ultimate advantage. So you can see we're playing pretty aggressively. We do get rooted, but Karma gets knocked out by the Nami bubble as well, and we're still playing very aggressively, trying to zone them away from the minions once again to delay their level 5 as long as possible. But of course, it's really hard to get an all-in against them when they're under tower, so likely nothing too much of that is going to happen. Karma tries to go all-in with the ulti. I step out of the ulti, and I'm not really taking too much damage there. I come in with my own ulti, finish off the Ashe, and tank a couple of tower shots to get the kill onto the Karma as well. And we finish off both kills, and we're able to even get a couple of plates from the tower. So yeah, not exactly very well executed by the enemy team there, and we are able to punish them with our own ultimates for their over-aggression, and we are able to, of course, pick up the kill. Now, they did get quite a good catch onto Nami with, the Karma ultimate and all, but we were of course there ready to respond with our own ulti, and yeah, so now we got the components for Triforce. Of course, with those 2 kills in our pocket, we're pretty accelerated, and we will be starting to snowball with that. And yeah, one of the things I really love about Zeri is that in PC she's a lot weaker in lane, and in Wild Rift she's a lot stronger, but in Wild Rift her late game is still honestly pretty good. So she does scale very, very well, and she's not that weak in the laning phase, which is what I think makes her quite a strong ADC. The fact that she has not too weak of an early game and a pretty strong late game to boot. So I do think she is pretty strong at the moment. So now we're kind of back to lane, and they're kind of doing the same thing where they're pushing in waves and they're trying to poke us. Honestly, Karma, Ashe is a very strong poke lane because they got a lot of poke with Karma Qs and Ashe Ws, but we are able to actually get a lot of damage on Karma as she's trying to get a ward. Here I actually flash forward to try to ult, but I actually get stunned, which that didn't look too hard. But here you can see Karma is low, Tryndamere is low, and we're just trying to do some damage. Now Vladimir comes in, but as I'm kiting away, he's taking a beating from me as he's kiting away. I dash forward to finish off the Karma. Vladimir is now really, really low. He gets finished off as well, and Lee Sin kicks Ashe away from us for some reason, but thankfully Ashe dies to, I'm not sure what. Might be a Nami W or might be some red buff or something, but she does end up going down, so we are able to get a couple of kills as well as get the dragon. So now 3-0-3 is the RKDA right now. We are able to complete our Triforce, which is obviously going to be our first major power spec. Of course, with the Triforce, all the additional stats and the passive, we're going to be doing a lot of damage, and also we're going to be a lot harder to kill. Here we have a huge stacked wave that's slowly accruing. And honestly, even though Nami's not with us, it's really going to be really hard for the enemies to fight me because of the minion wave. They're going to take a lot of minion aggro. And you can see that I'm still at full health, and I managed to actually get quite a good chunk of Karma's HP considering that I was alone in this situation. Yeah, so here we're not just shoving in the wave to of course, maybe bully them under tower and also to get a couple of tower plates if we can. We don't have to be too scared of them as long as we don't aggro them when they're under tower and get stunned by Ashe or something like that. We're going to be just fine. We can afford to take some pokes, not going to be too big of a deal. Another nice Nami wave into bubble, and with that CC chain I'm able to just follow up with my ulti into Q and autos, and we're able to basically just burst them down. So not too much to comment about that. Basically we're just, you know, really fed, and you know, we're doing the same kind of thing to Vladimir. Vladimir now gets chunked pretty much 100 to 0. Does get insane healing from his ultimate though, so he is able to survive because of his ultimate. Tower is now on its last legs at 90 HP, and we've actually plundered all of the tower plates from the tower itself, and we're kind of just waiting for the minion wave to go in and finish off the tower. Now Tryndamere and Vladimir are now both here to cover as Ashe and Karma are dead, so we can't actually get the tower unless the minions get it for us. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, so the minions don't actually get the tower. But the tower is in a low enough state that honestly we could probably just go in and auto attack it once or twice and it's probably gonna die, but of course we're not really gonna do that because we could get CC'd on the tower by like an Ashe ulti into some Karma CC, and that would basically be death. So we don't really want to do that. Instead we're just gonna wait for them to shove in here and just continue farming as we were doing. Karma pops the ulti into Q, but honestly doesn't do that much damage against me. She doesn't really have Luden's Echo and yet, so not really doing that much damage. She does look like she's building towards it though. Here Karma once again just comes over and face checks. Here I go in with the ulti and I'm able to finish off the kill onto the Karma, but I flash forward to try to finish off the Ashe, but I eat a Ashe ult to the face followed by some Tryndamere damage and I do end up going down. However, Lee Sin is in the area, manages to trade the kill back onto the Ashe and finishes off the Tryndamere as well. So in the grand scheme of things, we did trade 2 for 3, which is a pretty positive trade, and Lee Sin gets the kills and gets fed. He gets the tower as well. But yeah, probably a little bit too over aggressive there, just flashing in onto the enemy Ashe there, especially considering she has yet to use ultimate. Probably shouldn't have done that. But yeah, so we do give her a pretty big shutdown, and she kind of semi gets back into the game because of that shutdown. So here, we're trying to help out the Cannon. Cannon goes in with the ulti, but he's really low, gets ulted by Malphite and does go down. However, this gives us an opportunity to actually just go in on Malphite. I popped the ult to get a little bit more damage and movement speed because he is really tanky, so I'm having a lot of trouble killing him, despite the fact that he only has a Sunfire Aegis, but he is still really tanky. So anyways, we're going to stick around to kind of farm the next wave and maybe push into the tower and get some tower plates. But you know, it's not really that safe. We don't have too much vision, so we're going to instead just back, complete our Runan's Hurricane, and perhaps head over to the dragon area to see if, you know, we can help our team to contest the dragon, which is going to come up in about 30 seconds. Fortunately though, Nami dies before the dragon spawns, so we're going to be a member short if we do decide to contest the dragon. Here I'm picking up the red buff and then heading over to help my team. Doesn't seem like they really need my help though, they kind of have it covered. Vladimir flashes away. I'm on the chase trying to get a kill. Syndrome does finish him off with the ulti, although he was kind of at 1 HP. I don't think it was worth ulting there, but she does secure the shutdown, I guess, and she was 0 and 4, so I guess that's a pretty important shutdown for her to get. Anyways, now Dragon basically claimed uncontested. We do have double Dragon now, so we're on track for a Mountain Dragon soul, which is probably the least useful soul out of all of them. And now we're going to head back over to mid and clear out the minions here as well. And so we see Malphite in our jungle for some reason. Lee Sin kicks him away to safety. I'm not really sure. Like, Lee Sin is really fed, but his kicks have been really questionable. Like, why would you kick Malphite away from the team when we could have just finished him off and gotten a free kill? So Malphite does eventually end up dying, thankfully, but not without a lot of extra effort. Now Vladimir is here to help out the Tryndamere, who's getting dived on the tower. I popped the ult for the movement speed and the damage. Tryndamere, we're just waiting for his ult to expire, which it does here. Now Vladimir is stuck under the tower this time. I'm basically pelting him from over the wall. Lee Sin finishes off the double kill, and I'm actually pretty low, so it's a pretty sticky situation, but we do manage to escape with our lives, clearing the ward on our way out. And I was initially thinking of maybe pushing the tower, but instead I'm just going to maybe get the wave. I'm pretty low, and I'm not quite sure where Ashe is at the moment, although we can see Karma in the bot lane, so I'm just going to play it safe, and I'm just going to actually recall. Also, the bot lane has been pushed in by a lot, because during this whole time, Ashe and Karma, I guess, were pushing in the bottom lane. So here I'm just headed over to just clear out the bottom lane. And meanwhile, the 1 in 4 Syndra is trying her best to steal the minions from me. But so we're now instead just going to farm the jungle creeps instead, clearing out the control ward in the meanwhile while waiting for the Crux to split. And of course the next wave has come in, so we're going to push out the next wave as well to ensure the enemy team doesn't take an inhib or anything like that while we're distracted. Fight looks like it's about to break out in the mid lane, and it kind of does. Lee Sin goes legendary. I'm slowly making my way there. It doesn't look like my team really needs me. Malphite's coming in from the back to flank my team, so I'm also kind of coming in on a semi-long flank. Malphite does end up going in with the ulti, but he's alone and ends up taking a lot of damage. I'm just going to run down the Karma, who does get the root on me, but I am able to finish the kill onto her as she goes under tower. And here we are going to finish off the mid lane tower, as well as probably the inhibitor. And with all of that secured, we can just back off. We don't really have any other waves to push with, and there isn't really anything else much to do. For some reason, 3 members on my team are sticking around in the mid lane despite not having anything to achieve here. Like, obviously not going to end the game with enemies respawning and with the Nexus shield, and there's nothing much you can really get in mid. So, no real reason to stay there. Thankfully, no one dies though, so they are going to make it back home safe. And now we're at a 3-item power spike where you do have Triforce, Runettes, as well as our first crit item, the Bloodthirster. So we're really strong. A lot of AD, a lot of attack speed, a lot of damage, a lot of lifesteal, all the good stuff. And we're also super duper fed. Now Lee Sin's way more fed than us actually. He's like 13.5k gold. I'm only at 11.5, so we have a super duper fed Lee Sin, although he still has a lot of questionable ultis. But yeah. So here the only objective left on the map is actually Baron, and we're like almost 10k gold ahead of the enemy team, so we do want to kind of try to get picks and to get Baron out. Ashe gets overzealous, flashes the wall trying to finish the Lee Sin into my entire team, and we do end up finishing her off. Karma gets finished off by the Lee Sin as well. Lee Sin is now chasing Tryndamere, and while this is happening, we should be actually starting off the Baron, but instead what we're doing is chasing the Malphite for some reason, popping the Ghost and chasing the Malphite. We slow him down with our Q, and he's popping the Locket now. We get the speed up from Nami, and we eventually finally catch up to him and finish the kill onto him. But as I said, the proper play here would actually be to just go for Baron. Like, Malphite and Vladimir is not going to be able to stop us from getting Baron with 3 of their teammates dead. So that was going to be a way better move than simply, simply chasing after Malphite and trying to just get another kill. But, in the heat of the moment, we're just chasing him down and just running him down. We didn't realize, actually, honestly, as I was chasing him, I did realize that, we should be doing Baron instead. But at that point, I was already committed to the chase and might as well just chase him all the way, then chase him halfway and walk back to Baron. So here we're getting, of course, our components. Of course, Malphite's a really tanky chap, and also we have a lot of healing on enemy team, like from Tryndamere, Vladimir, as well as, of course, Ashe. So we are also getting the Grievous Wounds section of the armor pen. Of course, grabbing ourselves the components first. The Executioner's Calling, most important component there. Here the Drake has spawned, and Tryndamere does end up going down. Vladimir is still dead from our last encounter. And looks like this dragon should be relatively free for my team to claim and take Dragon Soul. Cannon coming over on the long flank again, but honestly he's not really needed because the enemy team is not really contesting us at the dragon anyways. So here we're gonna finish off another kill onto the enemy bot lane, who have basically overstepped. Here I have a nice prediction flash on the Malphite ulti, and then I E back over the wall to kind of follow up and pick up a triple kill onto the Malphite, and I go godlike. Here I'm basically just pushing down bot. Vladimir is now on the run from me. I do get a slow on him, but he is able to pull out, and we're not able to really do too much to him. But now we're just counter jungling in the enemy jungle. Only Tryndamere can possibly show up here, which he actually does, and we're just kiting him out, and he takes a lot of damage here. He's actually almost dead. He has to pop the Undying Rage. thankfully is not able to focus me while he's in the undying range. Kennen actually finishes off the kill with his ulti, which is honestly a huge waste, because the Tryndamere is definitely dead anyways. But he does prop the ulti to secure the kill on Tryndamere, and we are able to get the red buff back and then get the Mole Reminder as well. So now on the way out, just farming the rules real quick. And now headed over to the Baron area. I'm just going to secure the Skull Crab, which will ensure we have vision of the Baron area and ensure the enemy team won't know if we're doing Baron from the Skull Crab vision. So here I'm just getting the Gromp, and Syndra just comes over and yoinks the blue buff. I wasn't honestly planning to take the blue buff anyway. But yeah, just coming over and grabbing that blue buff. She probably doesn't need it more than me, and she's not really feeding that much anymore. She's at 3 items, so probably fine that she took the blue buff. Tryndamere nearly gets caught by Nami Bubble again. And now we're just clearing out the wards. Honestly, I think we can probably just do Baron because we're so far ahead. We're like almost 10k gold ahead, and we can probably just start Baron, and there's not too much they can do about it. Anyways, but we're not really doing that. I guess we don't really have someone to tank for us. It's probably gonna have to be Nami. Here I'm trying to just remove the crown of the Karma in case a fight breaks out. Then we can probably have a better chance of killing the Karma. So I'm just trying to remove her crown, but it's not really very successful. Here we have Syndra flashing in for some reason. Kennen ults like basically no one, and I don't really know what's going on here. It's kind of like a big mess here. Nami also pops the ult, and we're losing ultimates left and right, while the enemy team still has all of theirs, so not really the best situation here. Elder Dragon is coming up in 10 seconds. I initially wanted to back to get items, but the issue is that it looks like my team is going to land up in a fight soon, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm in the base and my team starts a fight. So I'm not actually going to back in the end. I'm just going to stick around and try to contest the Elder Dragon with my team without backing, without resetting. And Lee Sin decides to farm the Raptors instead of like pushing out mid or starting up the Elder Dragon, which is a pretty strange choice. Enemy team is obviously somewhat in the area to contest the Elder Dragon. So we are kind of just blasting the Elder Dragon while kind of trying to zone the enemy team out. The only one we really need to be careful of is really Tryndamere, who is of course the jungler with the smite. The rest of the champions shouldn't really be able to steal unless Karma gets an empowered Q and our jungler horribly smites. So here I'm going to just finish off kills. Here again I see Malphite, so I flash to the left to try to dodge his ulti, but he doesn't actually ulti, and the enemy team actually steals the Elder Dragon, but only Malphite's left alive. Only Malphite has Elder, and we're probably just going to finish off the game and finish him off. I get hit by the Malphite ult, but it doesn't really matter because he's building like a half tank, half damage build anyway. So with that, we're able to pick up the dub. And as usual, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.